Nigel Farage, I was watching you earlier and you couldn't even really believe that this harebrained scheme was not a hoax, but it's totally real, Nigel. So why does Welsh Labour want to incentivise illegal migration?
Dan, I really did think it must be an April the 1st story. It couldn't possibly be true. And we are still in, early mid-April. Unbelievable. I mean, given that of a survey done last year, released under FOI, 98% of migrants had dumped their ID, right? If you come in age 17 and aged 18 and get £1,600 a month benefit, I promise you, there won't just be dinghies crossing to Dover, there'll be much bigger boats coming straight into Cardiff Bay with people with no documentation claiming they're 17 years and 11 months old and waiting to take the money. It's almost beyond comprehension. Perhaps what it is showing us is how mad devolution's becoming. I mean, in Scotland, a double rapist turns up in court with a wig on, is sent to a woman's prison, and that brings down Sturgeon, thank goodness. And Drakeford just appears to have gone completely and utterly mad in every regard. Look, I have been predicting this disaster for the last 3 years. I've been calling for 2 years for a national emergency to be declared. And on the very same day we hear of this bonkers proposal, which, by the way, Keir Starmer will slap down. Believe you me, he will. Oh, he'll hesitate. He'll, have a see where the wind's going.
But he has to. He has to.
Yeah, he has to. He has to. But at the same time, and think about this, Suella Braverman is declaring a national emergency. Now, I thought, hooray, at last, they've got it, they've woken up. Under emergency powers, we're going to send people straight back to French beaches with the Royal Marines. No, the national emergency means they can use a clause of the Local Government Act to completely override local democracy and to sequestrate former RAF bases, prison camps, barges, fill them up with young, undocumented males without even bothering to talk to the local councils. And this situation gets worse and worse and worse. We're about to get the really good weather. That'll come. That settled weather will come in May, June, July, and we are going to be completely and utterly overwhelmed. And Rishi Sunak's stop the boats. I mean, don't make me laugh. Stop the boats. And did you see last Friday? He was backtracking already.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Why? A major court case, and you wouldn't have read this anywhere, a major court case starts in the High Court on Monday of next week. And believe you me, GB News' Mark White is all over this. And even if, it depends what happens there, but then it could go to the Supreme Court. And then, of course, to our friends in Strasbourg at the European Court of Human Rights. And I really believe that none of this can be solved until we leave a completely outdated court run by people who are jurists. It's a bizarre European concept. They're not even legally trained in many cases. We should not be part of that. Brexit would never have gone through without the promise of controlling our borders. We cannot control our borders staying part of this court. And I tell you what, people may say, oh, Rishi's bringing stability. If you want to do maths until you're 28, I suppose that's great. But it's funny, isn't it? I mean,
I don't want to.
I mean, head boy at Winchester, Oxford, and Stanford thinks we should all do maths. I mean, God help us. But the truth of it is, this is still the issue that will cost the Conservatives the next election. And unless they can muster the courage, take on this question, to take on the ECHR as a logical extension of what Brexit Britain should do, they will lose the election because public anger is real. And Dan, the great thing is, it doesn't matter what the Times say, or the commentariats say. The fact is, a settled, large majority of the country are with you and me.
Absolutely. And the anger is going up and up and up, especially as these migrant hotels come closer to many more communities. But look, Nigel, I wanted to move on to a big issue across the Atlantic, which has really tapped into something we've been talking about for quite a long time here. And it's the maker of Budweiser beer now trying to make amends for this own goal by hiring Dylan Mulvaney, you know, the trans influencer. So they've released a new all-American, all-masculine TV commercial. So I just want to show you a reminder of Dylan Mulvaney's Bud Light commercial that saw £5 billion wiped off the value of its parent company, and now this new Budweiser ad, which is trying to reverse some of the damage.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports.
Let me tell you a story about a beer rooted in the heart of America, found in a community where a handshake is a sure contract, brewed for those who found opportunity in challenge. This is a story bigger than beer. This is the story of the American spirit.
I mean, Nigel, the issue might be for Budweiser, the horse has already bolted.
Well, it's good to see a stallion, I have to say. It's good to see later in the advert blokes together, positive images of the national flag, pictures of Manhattan. Hooray! Does this mean we can be blokes again and have a beer with each other without being accused of being ghastly and vile? You know, I was at the Grand National on Saturday, having a beer, watching horses. I thoroughly approve of this new Budweiser advert. And, you know, in life, it's never too late to make amends. This new advert effectively is an apology for what they've done before. And you know something? Woke capitalism, ESG investing, none of it is working. You know, the people winning on the stock markets of the last year were in, guess what? Oil, tobacco, coal. These are the stocks that did really well last year. But I love it all. So, look, you know, let's be fair to Budweiser.
Yeah.
You know, they've obviously got some marketing department full of cretins. They've realised their mistake. They've corrected it. And do you know something with that and what's happened in Scotland and elsewhere? I actually think what we're seeing is the pendulum can swing back very quickly. And I think on this whole trans lunacy, and by the way, you know, when I led UKIP, I had trans people who were candidates. I had one who was a deputy mayor. I had one who was an MEP. I've got no problem with people genuinely who feel they're born, you know, into the wrong body. I think we should all be tolerant of that. What we shouldn't be doing is actively promoting it as a sort of everyday choice and lifestyle that hundreds of us take up. And to tell children at school, this is a really, actually, it's preferable to be trans. And that's been the big error. So actually, I'm very encouraged by this, very encouraged by the advert. Budweiser is not my favourite choice of beer, I have to say. I'm more of an English real ale man. But well done them for recognising their marketing department got it wrong. Common sense.
And doing that 180, that very quick 180.